How? But we went over that hurdle and we're all good. So a few years later, we left our corporate jobs and fully focusing on the business now. We're in incubations and they're busy telling us we need to be ready for the market, ready, you need to be retail ready. That's the word they used. Um, and the main criteria that we needed was barcodes. So at that time, we're not going through consumer goods council. Like, why? After all that experience, we're not doing it. Somebody says, no, you get them online, quick and easy. And it's also cheap. We're like, okay, great. We go online, and guess what? Guess who got 10 barcodes for cheap? So we were so happy. And now we're rebranding. Um, our Our product now is looking beautiful. We start printing labels. We're putting these barcodes on our products, and we are good to go. And then we approach a spa. Now we're going into spa as well. And then spa is scanning our products, and they're like, there might just be an issue with your barcode, but hold on, I think we can sort it out. And we are there. They're like, no, don't worry. We managed to tweak something here and there. We sorted. Please bear in mind that at this moment, no one is telling us why we need a barcode. What is a barcode? What is it used for? What value it's going to add to? We just know that we need to have a barcode. So a few years later, we are exhibiting at Proudly SA Buy Local Summit. There, I was interacting with customers, they're busy selling, we are busy, my stand is buzzing. And then a certain lady, I won't mention names, picks up our product, scans it, and says, your barcode is wrong. And I'm like, how? How is our barcode? As stuck as I am, I just went red. And I had to count in deeply to 10 so I can calm myself down. I don't want to create a scene. Customers are there. With a smile, I walk to her and say, what do you mean? Um, she says to me, I'm from GS1. I'm like, okay, you are GS1. What is GS1? I don't even know what that is. She says, Consumer Goods Council, and your products are for a different product. I'm like, huh? So what this means clearly is that us as small businesses, GS1 or Consumer Goods Council is clearly not obvious to us. And it was not something that was brought up to us, especially with these incubators that house us and teaching us the ropes to get into the market. So importantly, it didn't make sense that I need to have a barcode that means anything to me. And she was making a big deal out of it, and I didn't see the issue. So from there, we decided maybe we should look into this. Only then, as we now investigating, we actually realized that this thing is an identity. It's like your own identity, ID number, you know, your ID that you carry with you to go ask for help at the bank or something that you need to get into a university or something that you even need to be up to applying a job. We actually didn't realize how important a barcode is. And now we're like, okay, so this thing can get us into retail and our consumers can know more about us and they know if the product is local or not. And should there be an inquest, they're able to track it back to us. So now we then decided to reconnect with GS1 because now we know who GS1 is. And we are listed with Food Lovers. Um, we are So we are now listed with Food Lovers through the Seed of Change Enterprise Development Program. So I managed to win that position in 2022. And now we really need to get our ducks in a row. So I'm starting this process from scratch. I'm acting as if I have no idea what's happening with GS1. So, starting on a clean slate, I contact GS1. I'm going to be honest, it was a mission. However, there's this gentleman by the name of Lihlono. I still preach his name. Lihlono managed to carry my hand through the beginning to the end, to a point where we even activated my activate, and my products are there, beautifully labeled. You are able to see my barcodes. And Lihlono not only did he help me, but educated me as well. So surely you know that GS1 offers training, and I know that us as small businesses, we tend to ignore those trainings and not attend until such a time when we're in a crisis and we need something done. So I urge small business owners, take a moment, book a day, do these trainings because they are worth it. So then we change our labels, and we have confidence in our product. And this confidence comes with whatever logos that we have. We actually didn't realize the value of just this little barcode that sits at most of the time back of our products. And it's actually when you realize that this thing carries a whole lot more than just another logos that we have on our on our brands. Um, so I have distributors throughout Gauteng who carry my product. Um, the one time I go deliver a product to her, I deliver her stock, and she pulls out her PO system, and she's busy going on and punching, and she says, "There, done. I'm happy to receive my stock in this way because I'm able to um, pull out a sales report at the end once the so I'm like, here's another thing that I didn't know about these labels, these barcodes. I'm able to have a sales report. I'm able to check my inventory with this barcode. Did they tell you at GS1? Yes, they did tell you training, but you didn't attend. So now I can't honestly wait to see the Vision 2030 with the 2D barcodes. Um, my only suggestion would be, can it have at least the SLA there with a retailer that we'll be contracting with so that we don't have to go through this every year? Can we so honestly, I'd honestly would like GS1 to call us as small business owners and say, what would you like to see? What would you like to be added on this? Because I can guarantee you that a whole lot of us would want to have more information that helps us with negotiations through our retail journey. I would personally like to see more conversations that go outside these rooms, out there to the small businesses, so that when they are getting ready to go into the market and they're getting ready to put in this brand together, and we forget that a brand is not just your brand name, and it's all these little additional things that we have on our products. So half the time we walk around naked and you have a brand name and you have a logo and you're looking good. But without a barcode, you literally not enough. So those who are in social media, they will know when I say, hello, bestie. Can we have that campaign where you use us as small business owners to be your influencers? And we go around doing TikTok videos or Instagram videos and say, hello, bestie. Have you heard of GS1? This is what the barcode does. So throwing it out there, hear it, don't hear it. So with all that said, I just want to put a disclaimer that as much as we were listed with Food Lovers, we took a decision not to go in because we wanted to complete our kitchen. We decided to build a kitchen, a production kitchen. And now that we are done with our production kitchen, we'll be then supplying Food Lovers Market. And with that, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Musibudi. I actually have seen the kitchen. I was invited to. It's just, as are you with we happened to be at a function together, and that weekend they were launching the kitchen. I said, why not? So it's a real story of a company that's growing from strength to strength. And we've seen a number of them in this room, and the exhibition stands are next door as well. Please go and see what is happening out there so that, part of that SLA that we may have to consider when you're talking about, hello, bestie. I hope the bestie will do this for free as well. You know what I'm saying? That it's not going to be, can you pay us to do this? So tit for tat, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're looking forward to that. We're going to move to maybe, Musibudi, there may be some questions. Let's give you an opportunity to see if there are questions that could empower other people. Any questions in the room? It's fine to have questions. We're going to have just one more session and then, we'll release. So have you got questions? Anything online, Martin? Keep forgetting people online now. No questions online. So thank you very much for sharing your story. Last but not least, before we come to the closing, we have one more on the program. It's about driving transformation through through digitization. Sorry, let me just get the right program. It's going to be Volker Dicha who's going to be speaking to us. Volker, if you can please come to the stage. Welcome, Volker, please, with hands of applause. I think that's fine. Yeah.
Hello. Hey, I just arrived from Germany like 2 hours ago. No, 3 hours ago. So sorry for missing the early morning or the morning sessions. I heard it was very interesting. Yeah, my name is Volker. I'm from Bipotec, based in Germany. I'm working in the company for almost 18 years now. I started as a project manager, and I took care of serialization and mark and verify projects right in the start, 2006, 2007 already. We implemented thousands of projects around the globe for serialization, marking and verification, putting 2D codes on products. All this started in the pharmaceutical industry. The first country who did that was Turkey. Maybe you heard the story about Turkey, why they did it. If not, maybe a short wrap up of what happened there. So in Turkey, there was a big reimbursement fraud. And what happened is at a certain point, the government found out that there is more money spent on pharmaceutical products, let's say, given to potential patients than people live in Turkey. So obviously there was an issue, right? And how to fight against that? And the idea came up to implement a serial numbering on pharmaceutical products, to put a data matrix code on it, a GS1 data matrix code, and put a serial number into the code. And with that information, the products will get traceable. And so from, let's say, it was a staggered approach. The first was putting the codes on the sellable units. And then the next stage was to put codes even on bundles, on shipping cases, on pallets, and so on. So to really provide a complete traceability, a complete aggregation of the product flow in Turkey. And that was quite successful. And from there, many other countries joined that initiative for pharmaceuticals. And now we are in 2025, so that's quite a while ago. In the meantime, the 2D migration is taking, let's say, its journey further on in other industries. So we are active in the food industry, in the beverage industry, in many different areas where the 2D code is coming. And this is now, sometimes you see a data matrix code and sometimes you see a QR code. And my presentation today is about that. So yeah, happy that you are still here and hope you enjoy and bear with me for the next, I don't know, couple of minutes. So let's start the slides. Okay. Maybe it's still uploaded. Sorry.
Can we load the PDF and then we'll transfer the video?
Okay, sure. We can switch in the meantime. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
No problem. Okay, so the PDF is. I have to say I was late with my presentation because I thought I can connect my computer, but yeah, I tried to upload that, so it wasn't working. All right, so why 2D? Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. All right, thank you. Now I'm having a tool. That's great. Does it work? Yeah. Oh, great. All right. So yeah, why 2D? What's the background? I already mentioned about the story of healthcare and what happened in pharmaceutical industry. The 2D migration is happening now in many other industries, and I just have a few examples here of yeah, some news you read in magazines or on websites and some information which is shared. And let's go deeper into this now. All right. So what are the main reasons? And by the way, this presentation is set up as a question and answers or frequently asked questions session. So we captured the last couple of years a lot of different questions we got. And this is more or less the headline. And the answers should be below. But if there is let's have a question on top of that, feel free to ask. I guess we will have some minutes in the end of the presentation. And yeah, so what are the main reasons? I mean, some of the reasons are obvious, of course, but others are maybe not well known yet. But definitely it's about putting dynamic data into a code which can bring that up to you as a consumer. A barcode is limited in space. It has a limited capacity. You cannot put more than just the GTIN inside, right? So a QR code or a data matrix code will have the capacity to put batch-related data there. So lot number, expiration date or best before date, or even serialization number that can be added there. And therefore, the 2D migration makes a lot of sense. There was a research because that's a typical, let's say, feedback we are getting or a question we are getting. Will this really happen? Is it really, let's say, serious or does it make sense to let's say go for 2D codes already because the scanners in the POS systems at the supermarkets, are they capable of reading a 2D code yet? And there was a research in 2021 where all the POS systems around the world have been checked for the 2D capability or the readiness of 2D codes. And at that time already, there was more than 60% of the retailers have been having already the capability to read 2D codes. We see that in the meantime, and maybe you are part of the 2D migration working group of GS1, where we are also very active. There are initiatives ongoing. There are the major suppliers for the POS systems are active, and of course they do some ongoing updates on the solutions installed. And if you look to several countries, of course, 2D codes are already there for many years. You have your apps maybe on your smartphone, you have like gift cards and so on, and you have already QR codes or data matrix codes there. So the readiness is given, and until 2027, which is our target for the 2D migration, the readiness will be definitely there. But of course, you can read about that research more, and yeah, all the data is given. So I also call this an evolution or a revolution. It depends. I mean, all this started many years ago with embossing, and this is now where I'm missing my slides and my animation. But of course, the first coding was embossing. So you put like some numbers on a folding box or on a foil with like putting there some embossing numbers. And the next is going for CIJ printing. So continuous inkjet printing, and I'm stepping into the printing technologies a little deeper later. So this is something, for example, the product I bought in Australia. It's because somebody asked me to bring Manuka honey back from Australia, and I bought this in a shop for 25 Australian dollars. And at the checkout, I thought, wow, maybe there was something wrong. Maybe I put my hand on it. I don't know, but I can't read this. And so I went back to the shelf. I checked all the products, and every product was looking like this. So let's imagine you buy such an expensive product and it's not readable, right? It's not. Maybe there is a recall and you can't identify the batch number, you can't identify the expiration date. I don't think this is good, right? So this is something, yeah, which happens with such kind of printing technologies. The next level would be, and this is of course already the next stage of the evolution, adding 2D codes. And this is a data matrix code. I'm always pointing to this slide. Maybe I should take this one. I don't know. This is a data matrix code, but maybe you can see this data matrix code is much too narrow. So from a quality perspective, this code is not readable. So it's not readable by a camera system, but it's also not readable by a scanner because it doesn't fulfill the coding requirements of the grading. So it's a good thought. It's a good idea to go for that and put a code here, but definitely it's not readable. And that's a topic, of course, when we look into 2D migration and retail. And if you want to have 2D codes on your products and it's the only code to be read, which approves your product to be sold, then it must be readable, right? And this is a challenge we have to address. And then, of course, the final step should be that you have a product with a good code and a human readable text in a high quality. So, all right. And so the next point is, okay, because looking at the technologies which are there, and the question comes, okay, can we just not use the existing technology and put something on top of it? It depends. I mean, at the end of the day, it turns out that you need probably new equipment. You need better printing technologies to make sure that your code is readable. You need camera systems to check if your quality is good and so on. So all this, at the end of the day, needs to be verified and integrated with your production line. So I think I already addressed this one. So is it realistic to expect a global support? And yeah, definitely. Things are ongoing, things are already happening. Retailers are doing it, companies, producers are doing it. So yes, it happens. So how, and this is a comparison of what happens today and what will happen in the future. So today we have, maybe this is a artificial milk product. We have this product, we have a pre-printed text. It tells you what it is. It says it's a milk product. It maybe indicates that you can win a prize actually. So this is an actual marketing campaign ongoing. There is a static QR code already, and this static QR code is of course scannable, but as I said, it's static. It's not with variable data, right? So next level will be, okay, you have your data, everything in the artwork fixed, and you can't adjust it quickly as well. The code is static as well because it just indicates the GTIN. The only thing which is dynamic is the text, which is printed maybe by a CIJ printer. Here it says the best before date and the batch number. So that's happening now. how does the future look like? So in the future, you probably still have your human readable text. It depends. I know countries, for example, in South Korea, they already have a law in place that on bottled water, it's not allowed anymore to put a label on the bottle. So it means that in South Korea, bottled water is labelless. So how you put your information on the product? So what they do is they put a QR code on the cap, and the cap QR code is dynamic. So you scan it, you see best before date, you see the batch number, you see everything, and you don't have a label anymore talking to you. It's just the code, right? And this is happening now in other countries as well. So, and I mean, maybe you still have your marketing information on your product. You still have all this yellow arrows there, but this code in the future will be dynamic. And forgive me, I mean, this slides have been done a couple of months ago already. I know with the new implementation guideline, this code should be close to the data matrix code, to the 1D code. And I have some examples because there was some news about the truncated barcode in combination with the 2D code. But of course, it should be close together because that the point of sale can scan easily either the barcode or the data matrix or slash the QR code. But at the end of the day, if we go further, this in the future will be the code to be read for the point of sale and for the mobile device as a consumer at the end of the day to use it for your information and winning the prizes, collecting the points, doing whatever with it, right? So, yeah, what measures are taken? There are a lot of measures taken. I mean, not read all this, but of course, implementation in production lines and keeping up the speed and so on, and the efficiency of your production lines is crucial. And yeah, that's definitely something where you should have a look on it. And now let me check back with the tech guys. Can we switch to my PowerPoint? Because the next slide is okay. Perfect. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So this slide I added in the airplane, so that's why it wasn't on the PDF. It shows the actual update from the GS1 2D in retail working group, because as I mentioned before, the codes should be aligned, should be close together, right? We have the 2D code and the 1D code, and I mean, some products probably don't have the space for putting both codes in this original size you needed. The best, in my opinion, the best idea to go is, of course, to use just one code and just the 2D code in the future. But of course, some companies are maybe afraid that the systems are really not ready to read the 1D code, or the people are not educated to know which code to be read, and then the point of sale is looking for the barcode and so on. So there will be companies who use two codes in the, let's say, transition phase. And if you go for it, this study is quite interesting because you see that in even smaller space here with a truncated 1D, it's still readable. So it says that you can go down to, let's say, by 60% truncation, you still have the reading result of 40 items per minute, which is very fast, I guess. I'm not sure if somebody is capable of doing that. So this has been done with robots in a test environment. But I think this is a good information to people out there which are afraid that something, you know, will happen with the barcode, and they can't sell their product. So this is also an option to go for two codes and use both. And by the way, also the scanning of both codes is not an issue at all. I don't know who participated or online participated at the GS1 Global Forum, which was in the Netherlands recently. So we have been there as well, and there was a presentation about the latest technology, and you could see that the reading of two codes can be managed by scanners. So this is not a problem. It's also not leading to a double sale. So this is something which is foreseen in the solutions and can be addressed there. All right, let's skip that. So what happens with 2D codes, and why is it different to what you probably use today? And here is a comparison of data matrix and QR. So of course, both codes have their pros and cons. At the end of the day, I think it's simple to say a data matrix code is used or is widely spread in healthcare. It's the 2D code for the healthcare applications, because all the countries worldwide which implemented the pharmaceutical or the healthcare serialization topic have been using the GS1 data matrix code. On the other side, the QR codes are, of course, widely used by marketing or for marketing applications. It's there. I mean, during COVID, it was there to read all the menus in the restaurants. It's still there on big information sheets or marketing campaigns to scan products and to see more information about it and to follow for a website or something like that. So it's a very prominent code. And of course, we believe that this is the, let's say, prevailing or the code for the 2D in retail topic as well. But of course, technology-wise, there are differences. The data matrix code, in short, has a bigger capacity even compared to the size, or depending on the size, than a QR code. But it doesn't have the support of the native camera apps. And that's probably the biggest topic if you look into retail, that your native camera app, if you pull out your mobile phone and you swipe, you go to the camera, it can't read a data matrix code yet. There are things ongoing. I think there is a version, a beta version of Google, of their iOS, of their OS system available, but iOS from Apple is not ready yet for data matrix code reading. But who knows? Maybe it will come. So yeah, just to wrap up, the data matrix is the healthcare code and the QR code is the option for retail. And just to make it clear as well here, we are talking about not just the data matrix. This is really a GS1 data matrix, and this is not a GS1 QR. It's just a QR combined with GS1 digital link, where I'm also talking about here, because GS1 digital link is playing a very, very important role here, because it's opening up the coding or the identification by using smartphones and scanning codes to the GS1 world, because it's standardizing the data string inside of that QR code. And you can implement all the, let's say, AIs you know from GS1, which are linked then to the website, and you can use them accordingly. So the GS1 digital link is really a game changer in that area. Yeah, I'm having some references and some videos about how customers really use that code already in real life. So why is it concerning everyone? Okay, I mean, nowadays, and I mentioned this already in the beginning, nowadays we just have a static GTIN on a product. It's not talking to you. You can't make use of it. The point of sale can make use of it, but you personally, you can't really make use of it. And a 2D code, of course, offers you to dive deep into, let's say, the company's proposals to you and information about the product and all different types of information you can look up, and even it's updating you on changes. So if something happens with the product and there is a recall, it tells you what to do. So of course, now the question comes: what to do with the technology? How to make it? How to realize it? 2D codes offer some or provide some challenges to production lines, because it's something you have to put while you are producing, while you have a packaging line running at a quite high speed, at a certain, with a certain pressure also to succeed, because if your production line is not running, you can't sell products or you have an issue, right? So it definitely has to be checked before, and it's good to have some pilots in place and to make sure that this works. So will it be enough to just buy a new printer? Yeah, this question is a very, very common one, and we think it's not just a new printer, because you also have to add camera systems. And now the question is, okay, adding just the camera to read the code and make sure that it's readable, is this something which works at the end of the day? Of course it could work, but it's offering another challenges to your operators and to your production lines. Because if you just, let's say, go for every production line and check for a printing system or a certain camera system, you still have to specifically operate those subsystems. And these systems are typically not talking to each other. So you have to make sure that you have a software in place, which covers all this, which is providing data to the subcomponents, and that the quality level of the reading and all this is given. But again, it's if you look at it as components, it's providing some additional burdens. Probably it's providing additional work to your manufacturing process. So okay, why this effort? This is not a law. And yes, we saw this, especially like 4 or 5 years ago. We saw this question very often. But honestly, in the meantime, I'm very, let's say, surprised how the retail world is taking, let's say, the opportunity, in my opinion, for the 2D migration versus the pharma world or the healthcare world ever did. I mean, in healthcare, it's a law in many, many countries, and it was always treated as a burden. So every healthcare company said, we don't really have an issue with counterfeiting. We don't have an issue with fraud. We don't need this. So why we have to implement such expensive solutions, and why this effort, right? And okay, the answer was simple. There is a law. If you don't fulfill the law, you can't sell your product anymore in that country, right? So we talk about South Korea, we talk about Turkey, we talk about US, we talk about Europe, and so on and so on. And of course, these are major markets, and you have to be present in that market and provide your products. Otherwise, yeah, you're not there. In the retail world, they see this totally different. And we have experience now with food companies, with beverage companies. They see the potential interaction with the consumer as the biggest opportunity of the century. They say, this is definitely a game changer for us. I mean, we are not in the US, but maybe some of you saw already advertisements in the 90s between Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I found this as a child always quite interesting, because it's a direct comparison of the products, and it's a direct fight between them, right? I would say the one or the other party would do a lot to get their market share, right? So this is something which is, in my opinion, a kind of headline of what's going on in retail. And it's not just the brand owners. It's also the retail companies which see their advantages. So there are a lot of advantages, and some of them are listed here. For example, for the producer, I already mentioned this. It's consumer trust. Yeah, it's talking to the customer. Maybe also recall management. You don't want to be in the headline of a newspaper. You don't want to be in the news in the evening, right? So you can communicate that in a smarter way nowadays. If you look to retail, I think the inventory accuracy is a big topic. In the village where I'm coming from, Germany, we have a supermarket, and I'm often in the evening, I'm going there, and when I see there is like it's at 7:30, it's starting. There is a lady with a big wheel of labels going through the whole shelves of the supermarket and checking the expiration dates or the best before dates. If there is a date below, I think 3 days or something like that to be expired, then she's putting a 30% off sticker on it. She's doing that every day. And I'm not sure, maybe some of you already saw the latest use case of Mercadonia in Spain, which GS1 promotes now globally, I guess. They said they save every year millions of avoiding this relabeling by people. And if you think about it, I mean, this happens all across the world in all different types of countries, in all different types of supermarkets. It happens everywhere. And it's a huge human labor cost, right? That people go and put stickers on it. So this could be completely avoided with 2D codes, which have that information in the code. And you probably just put a flag on the entrance of your supermarket, or you put it in your app and say, hey, if you find a product which is not, let's say, yeah, lasting longer than whatever days, then you automatically get 30% off. You don't have to do this by hand anymore. And so this is just an example of one advantage for retail. And for the consumers at the end of the day, of course, everybody nowadays wants to collect points, wants to collect some, points for special apps of manufacturers. And 2D codes, especially with serial numbers, are providing that information, plus the trust to that product that it's original and so on. I mean, think about, maybe you heard about it a couple of years ago. There was a big issue in China for baby milk powder. And just 2 weeks ago, I've been in Hong Kong, and I always check the products at the supermarket shelf. Nowadays in Hong Kong, every baby milk powder can is serialized. So you have on the bottom of the can, you have typically a blue dot with a laser coded QR or data matrix, and it's not just there to provide the serial number and to show that it's original, but also to scan it and collect some points for that particular company, right? So these are things which are happening. So how to do that? And of course, we are facing a lot of different products here, and a lot of different shapes and a lot of different production processes, and not all the processes are the same. I mean, this is just the animation. If it would be that simple, then it would be good, but it's not that simple, of course. So you have all these products at different shapes, you have all the different packaging materials, and this, let's say, dynamic code must be now put on that product. There are different ways to do that. Of course, you can potentially use the already existing all-rounder printer, the CIJ, which is typically used for the human readable, but then the code must be quite big and the area of printing must be quite big. Otherwise, you can't achieve the necessary code quality because the dots are quite big there. If you want to have a better code quality, then you should go for the thermal inkjet printer. This is the typical printer used for folding boxes, but also for foil. But you have to touch the product. So it means that you have to have a product shape which is touchable by the printer because it cannot be done over distance. And if you want to see how it works on our booth in the exhibition area, we have a machine equipped with 2 double-head TIJ printers and camera systems, so we can print on chocolate boxes, which you can also take home and personalize it for them. So if you're interested, just step by. And there are other printing technologies as well. So you have the thermal transfer printer. Thermal transfer printer means you print on a label and then you apply the label on the product. So this is something typically used for trays or maybe shipping cases where you put that, let's say, label on it with some more information. And there is another one which is used many times used in pharma, but also what I just explained with the baby milk powder, the laser printer is typically taking away the varnish of a surface. So it's providing, or it's creating contrast by taking or edging away the surface, and underneath there will be white, so you have the necessary contrast for the code and for the human readable text. But it could also be used for marking plastic products. So there are, for example, this is a transparent bottle. I'm coming back to this in a few slides. Transparent bottle, which the laser is, let's say, or where the laser is changing the color of the transparent PET to black, and then you have the contrast black to, let's say, transparent. Or it's used at a white surface of a plastic bottle, and then it also prevents, or it's providing a color flip of that product as well. And then there is piezo inkjets, so they can be used to mark directly on shipping cases. So you potentially have a huge shipping case and you want to get rid of your labels. There is an example of a manufacturer which directly prints on frozen fish in a shipping case because they don't want to use labels anymore, to spare the labels as such and the costs for the marketing and the pre-printing, but also as a sustainability measure, because sustainability is coming more and more, and maybe there will be some laws in place similar to what I just explained for South Korea in the future. Who knows? So how does that look like? This is a small animation showing you the different technologies. So you always, of course, need some hardware and software in combination. You maybe need product transport and handling system. So this is a simple checkwire combination with printing and verification. So you have your titch printer here, a camera system afterwards. You probably have a checkwire. So this could be just replaced or just replacing a checkwire in an existing production line nowadays. It has the same footprint, but it has the capability of marking and verification on top of it. This is another example of using in a production line. This could be sliced cheese, ham, sausages, whatever, meat in trays or vegetables, whatever, and is a labeler on top and a labeler from underneath, combined with a metal detector and also check weighing. And then this is a typical pharma application. So you have your folding box with a blister inside, and you do the serialization, maybe even the tamper evident labeling in combination with the image verification and also check weighing rejection afterwards. But all this, of course, could also be provided as integration kits. So you have maybe a labeling system end of line for shipping cases, and you want to apply labels. Maybe it's marketing labels in combination with shipping labels, or it's an integration kit in such a type of machine where you equip some existing labeler with printing and verification. And last but not least, there will be the same or similar for bottles or round objects. It could be vials, it could be bottles with some content inside, and you have a labeling application where you do that, print and apply solution. All right. The same appears for shipping cases, and I mentioned this already. You can have different versions of such kind of solutions. It could be labels, but it could also be direct print. And all these different applications, of course, you can look that up in on our website, and if you're interested, in YouTube, I guess. But basically, there are many different types of solutions available in the meantime, out of, let's say, the many years experience we have in that field of applications. And actually, there would be some sound, but it's just music. For the next video, I would need the sound because there are some references coming up. But if not, then I will just speak over. No, it's okay. The next one is better. So, but you can see this is used in all different sectors already. So it doesn't necessarily just need to be one or the other application. It's everything which is nowadays packed and shipped around the world needs some printing or labeling, right? So yeah, and I mean, the title of it was also data sharing. Of course, these solutions all also provide the capability to connect to high-level systems. So you have MES solutions on top, typically higher-level software solutions where the data is generated. We typically talk about the master data, batch data in general. We talk about maybe serial numbers if you need them. And all this is provided with interfaces, and it could be XML or it could be OPC UA, whatever fits best for the implementation in production lines. And yeah, so I brought some reference videos here. So this is the German steakhouse chain. I don't know if you maybe heard about them. It's called Blockhaus. So they have steakhouses, but they also have online shop. And in their online shop, they sell frozen meat products. So this particular product was frozen burger patties, but they also apply it on frozen steaks. So what they want to do is exactly what mentioned before. They want to communicate with the customers and want to make sure that their products are scannable and that information can be shared more easily. And also, I think they use it for winning prizes or collecting points at their online store. This is an application for the frozen fish I mentioned before. So it's standing in a harbor in Madrid in Spain, and it's used for printing directly on the freshly packed frozen fish, which is then shipped across the world. And they really do serialization because they need to base their product. It's a very high class and high cost product, which is shipped to everywhere. sustainability point of view, they didn't want to use a label like container, so they stick the label in directly on it. So you check. And by the way, the camera here, it's not a simple camera making a full picture of the product. It's a line scan camera, which means that it's limitless in terms of size, and not in terms of height, but in terms of product length. It's independent from the product. So it could be a small case, could be a big case. It's like every millimeter is a photo made, and this photo or these little pictures are stitched together, and then you have a big photo and can do the image evaluation of not just the variable data, but instead of the whole print you do. So the whole print can be checked for the quality. And this is an example of a German machine builder, which is doing horizontal bagging machines. And this was a show recently in Cologne, a food show where on this product, serialized data matrix code was put. And basically saying such a nice product and he has never seen something better. Okay. Coming to the last slides and probably the most interesting reference here. I'm not sure, maybe you already heard about it or saw it. I think it's advertised a lot also during GS1 channels. This journey started about 6 years ago in Latin America. So basically we had an event similar like this today with GS1 in Sao Paulo, but it was a private event, and we invited somebody from a different industry because we thought, let's talk about IoT and Industry 4.0 and something to think out of the box and not just always the same serialization, healthcare, and all this blah blah blah. So we invited somebody from Coca-Cola to that event, and at the end of our presentations, he came to us and said, I mean, he presented IoT, presented the most modern Coca-Cola plant in the world, which was at that time in Rio de Janeiro. And basically all their machines are communicating with each other. And you get all the data from that machines at the end of the day or during the day on smartphones and on software. But what they don't have is information about the product and the product flow. And after our presentations for serialization, he came to me and asked, could you do that, what you do in healthcare, also in the beverage industry? And we said, let's see, maybe. So next morning, 5 o'clock, we had 2 tickets to Rio de Janeiro, to the headquarters of Coca-Cola Latin America. And we talked about serialization on refillable PET bottles, because Coca-Cola had the idea to implement serialization on those bottles to get a lot of information. For example, they wanted to know how often the bottles are used, are reused, refilled until they crack. Where do the bottles go in their supply chains? Maybe somebody knows the Coca-Cola system is very complex and it's franchised and it's spread in different regions and so on. But the bottles sometimes don't care, right? They are sold here, they are sold there. And all this information was not visible before. But with serialization of the refillable PET bottles, of course, all that could be gathered and brought, to their knowledge. So it's also about circularity, of course, because there will be DPP laws, or there are already DPP laws in place in Europe, for example, where this is also helping them a lot, because it's at the end of the lifetime of the product, informing the recycler of what type of plastic it is. And that's basically kind of the law which will come in 2030 latest. So what they are doing here is they asked for putting serial numbers on bottles. And let me go back here. What we do is, and you have seen a lot of codes before, right? And all these codes you have seen before have been combinations of GTIN, typically best before date or expiration date, batch number, and maybe serial number. But always the basis was a GTIN. because at point of sale, you need the GTIN. Here, it's different. It's not a GTIN, it's a GRAI. It's a GRAI, Global Returnable Asset Identifier. And this is used already for pallets or containers. So it's identifying a product which is reused in the industry. And so the combination of the GRAI with the serial number leads to the QR code made in a GS1 digital link form so that you can scan it with your smartphone. In this case, you will be led to a Coca-Cola app because they nowadays also use it for a deposit return system. They implemented the first deposit return system in Chile with that code. So nowadays it's rolled out in many different other countries. We just 4 or 5 weeks ago implemented another solution in Brazil. The next will be Argentina, Guatemala, Mexico, and so on. So basically from Mexico down to Argentina, all the refillable PET bottles from Coca-Cola will be serialized with that technology. And how that looks like is shown in this small video here. If you can speak Portuguese, the sound is important, otherwise. This is the machine putting the code on it. So we built this machine. So that project even won GS1 Automation Award in Brazil 2 years ago, or was it last year? I'm not sure. Maybe end of 2023, I guess. So I guess it's a good example of what's possible already nowadays, right? And then finally, digital product passport, and this is kind of linked, as I mentioned before. Digital product passports are coming along with the circularity laws in Europe. There are some laws already for batteries, for recycling of plastic, of glass, of whatever type of products. And this code, which you have seen on the bottle, will also be a digital product passport, and they already fulfill that with that given codes. And so, yeah, this is basically my last slide. I can only encourage you to scan these codes because we have a nice app. And it's not an advertisement app or collecting points app for Vipotech systems. It's an app which checks codes for conformity to GS1 standards. And I like it a lot because it's telling you not just the raw data of the code, but it tells you as well if the code is compliant and which AIs are embedded or where maybe is a failure or a mistake and how this failure can be corrected. And also it tells you more about the GS1 gen specs, the general specifications of the individual AIs used in that code. So, yeah, thank you for the time you brought and listening to me and bothering you with my presentation. Sorry for the transition as well between the PDF and the PPT, but yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Volker. I think this was very, very with you coming all the way from Germany, and thank you for making it here. We have seen what work they're involved with, and I really would like for you to please take time to go to the exhibition stand just to experience how and what the machine can do for you. They are ready for the digital migration. You seem to be doing quite a lot of work. And one of the things in South Africa that may be coming up that we're fighting very hard is front of pack labeling. And seeing this type of technology gives us the sense of confidence that the solutions are already out there in the market, right? We just have to work with our regulators for them to actually come and see that it's possible. Sure, Status A would be interested as well to like see, because the duplication that you were asking about earlier on, you can see that, you know, technology is moving towards a point that can be avoided. With that, I'm not sure if there are any questions in the room. Let's take a few questions. There's a question there. We'll take about 3 questions. Let's make it 4. 1, 2, 3. 3 for now. You can go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Bonga. I just wanted to find out the cost of the machine, your cheapest machine for a small business, one. And if I get this machine and the camera, is it possible to print? So I'll have the product, right? And then run it through the printing machine and the cameras and check everything, and then case it, bring it back again, for, to code a case. Yeah, from a small business point of view, just wanted to find out, the cost.
Okay.
Let's take all 3 questions. Sorry about that. Taryn, I think you were number 2. Okay, there's the 4th one. 2, then there's 3, and then 4 here.
Thank you. Thanks for a very informative presentation. My name is Taryn Daniels. I wanted to find out, besides regulation, what were the top drivers of your biggest implementers or your biggest implementations you've done apart from regulations? Also, I want to know, what are the top AIs that are being implemented today in implementations that you guys are doing?
Thank you. Let's take 3, then the last one there, because you're closer to the mic.
I'm not sure if I can remember all of them.
Maybe let's go with those 2. Sorry. It's been a long flight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And again, sorry that I missed the morning, but it was my daughter's baptism yesterday, and I really couldn't fly out yesterday, so I had to go yesterday. Sorry, when was it? No, it was on Sunday. We already have Tuesday. Sorry, so I had to fly out on Monday, and it was not. So
it was for a good
bear
reason.
with me. Maybe I cover the 2 questions first, and then the next. All right. So maybe the last question first regarding the main reasons.
Yeah. Key drivers besides regulation. What are those? And then top AIs being implemented across sectors.
Can we go back to my presentation quickly? Is that possible? Because I had a slide with all the benefits, the advantages of using the codes in there, and basically, I think for the manufacturers, it's the customer focus and the customer engagement, which is the major driver for brand owners to do it. For retailers, it's inventory accuracy and such kind of things. Let's quickly go there because there is a slide covering all these. Sorry, it's a lot of slides. No. Click. I think it's here. Oh, here. Okay. So yeah, it's talking to the consumer at the end of the day from a producer perspective. For the retailer, it's and it's not just them, it's many more as well. But these are, I would say, the key advantages, the drivers for implementing it. And of course, also for the consumers nowadays using your apps and collecting points and so on. I mean, in every supermarket, you get the question, do you have the app with you, or, such kind of things. But this is not all. It's just the essence of a lot of them. Sorry, what was the second point?
See, I can see them there already. The top AIs or the top
AIs.
application identifiers.
Yeah, of course, it's the GTIN, or in the Coca-Cola case, the GRAI. It's the batch number, and it's also the best before date or / expiration date, whatever type of product it is. And serial number is like an option. But many people say, okay, don't scare the people with serialization. I think this is not the point. The point is implementing batch data or batch information in production lines. That's the critical part where you have a direct impact on your production process. And as soon as you can print dynamic codes in a production line, serialization is just an additional AI. I mean, of course, it needs software in the background, but it's not making the process of printing and labeling or inspection more complex. So now see, I can't even remember the first question. The cost, right. The cost is, it's not just about machines. I mentioned as well in another slide that we, for example, implemented in this horizontal bagging machine. And in this machine, for example, it's just the integration kit of a printer and a camera into that machine, with an HMI. So you need a piece of software, you need a little hardware, but you don't need to build a machine for that. You can implement it in the existing production process. And something like that would be probably about 40 to 50K, but in combination with the printer, the camera, and the software interfacing to your high-level system. No, this is not rand, this is euros. Sorry.
Thank you. There was a question here.
Good afternoon. My name is Apiwe Musani Mawela. I think my question is more, I didn't see it come up on the presentation. The countries that have adopted this system, and maybe it goes to the GS1 leadership also, when it comes to regulatory adherence, how do you cover that? For an example, South Africa, we've got R146, which if we just apply the 2D code, as the standard stands, will be non-compliant. What is the thinking around ensuring that we move with the times, but also ensure compliance? When you talk to traceability with FSC 22000, if you just have a code, is it allowed, or is it certified by the different bodies if we were to move this way? Thanks.
I'm not sure if I'm the right person to answer this, but
yeah, Michelle is over there.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier on that there are some regulations in South Africa that are coming up. And in the morning sessions, I know you were at your exhibitions then, is that we are engaging regulators to say they need to look at adopting the GS1 standards as the standards that apply in this industry. I know that you can't, for example, export products to China. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's going to come to the Chinese products. They can not be exported or sold if they don't have GS1 standards, right? So we are entering into various MOUs with other GS1 countries. I know that from an US perspective, and if we keep AGOA and all the other things that with AGOA, GS1 standards are very important. And our regulators now are starting to stand up and seeing about what happened with the unfortunate incidents that we referred to earlier on of kids dying from consuming products that were not safe, that our regulators are starting to stand up. So if they adopted, Michelle, I think it's something that can be embedded into those TD goals, but I'll give it to you just to explain.
Apiwe, I think that's a great question. If I take the category that you look at, alcohol, we are seeing, we had some discussions with the South African Revenue Services on stamps and shared with them the link to 2D codes. Secondly is, if you look at alcohol that's been exported out the country, what's driving the regulations from the EU is DPP. So the wine board reached out to GS1 and asked us to please look at the quality of 2D codes now being put on wine bottles for export to the EU and to the US, given these tariffs. But so that's what's happening. And lastly, for us, there is some regulatory distance. We had a session with the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreements and ISO. And in that session, we had various standards bodies, South African Bureau of Standards, Kenya Bureau of Standards, Zambia Bureau of Standards. So I think what we need to do is get closer to the regulator, have the right discussions, that if it benefits the continent, why aren't we moving there? Because certainly it's been driven for trade with the EU, with China, with the US, and even Australia. The last example I want to give you is Australia, Woolworths. You had the earlier session. What happens is Tiger Brands in South Africa produces a little can of apples that's like a dessert, and it was done specifically for the Australian GS1, Australian Woolworths. And that's where their requirements for what needs to be starting to go as they move to 2D codes is driving the need here. So it's not just the regulatory requirements, but it is, as Volker said, it's driving the needs for consumers in different regions. I think the question to us in South Africa is what's happening locally to really see the need with the partners, whether it be Wipotech or Mitas that's in the room, that also looks at these requirements that goes on to your products as SMMEs. Why don't we speak to the DTIC? Why are we speaking to CIPC in the room? Why are we not speaking to Stats SA so that we can get more data from these intelligent barcodes that can really help them resolve some of the regulatory challenges they have, whether they are a non-tariff or technical barriers. So I hope that answers the questions, but we are certainly doing more. The good news in healthcare is SAPRA has a guideline out. We are hoping to have further discussions with them for that guideline to be ratified. It's exactly what Volker showed you as to what all the pharmaceutical products are doing at the moment. They have to have a GS1 2D code to trade. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you very much. I think the last question was over there.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting. My question is, did you buy the honey?
It was Manuka honey drops, and I bought it, yes, because I had the order to do it, so had no chance.
Volker,
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. My job is almost done for the day. Another fun and game session. I'm going to call up Shane, our COO, and Anthea, our executive for transformation and training, up on stage again to just do the final prizes. And as they are coming up, when they leave, I'll invite Michelle and our CEO, Zintle, who will hand over certificates. With that said, me, Neo Momodu, signing out, signing off. And it's been a pleasure actually hosting you today. Please stay with us after the CEO has made her closing remarks for a networking session. So yeah, just as you're killing traffic, because sometimes to leave at this time in Sandton might be a nightmare. So join us later. So Neo has left the building.
I like that song. Okay, we've got someone who's scanned this, right, to win a prize. And the app, the QR code is to join the Instagram account and follow for Holy SA. And their tag says every sip is a blessing. So the person who scanned and who's now following them on Instagram is Maisha Cat. That's a username. So let's see who's got such an interesting username. Are they here? Maisha Cat. There is no Maisha Cat. She's left. Okay, so I'm going to change the rules. We're going to choose a winner from here because she's not here. And Shane is going to. Musoko. Yes, there you go. Please follow Holy on Instagram. I don't know what's in the box. It could be car keys. And now we draw for the big box here from the Consumer Goods Medical Scheme. They also have a stand there at the back. Please engage them. And Shane will do the honors and find us a winner. Can't be Anthea, unfortunately. Oh, well, he went to visit the stand. Terence, where are you? He's not here and he's missing it. Yasin? Ah, there you are. Well done. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cynthia. And Michelle, where are you? Over to you. From me, thank you very much for honoring our invite and for RSVPing and showing up. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you. We've got the crime seminar next month. Then we move and we have an event with the Women Colloquy in August. Please make sure you don't miss the summit, 8th of October. Bigger. We will see you there.
So wow, what a day. So I just want to say thank you, a huge thumbs up to all our speakers and the team. It's been an absolute pleasure to host you. But now the exciting time, what we decided to do is a little bit off the cuff awards. During 2020, when COVID happened, we launched our global platform called Activate and Verified by GS1. It was all done online. And we had this really wonderful SMME that produced some sanitizer. And they were the first ones to actually put their product onto the Activate service that could list their products. So well done to VIP Cosmetics. If you can come up. We really appreciate you adopting technology, being the first. It wasn't a big retail manufacturer, it's a small SMME, and our products really look fabulous on our platform. Thank you. So the next one is a super exciting one. I think you've heard today about the barcode, but remember when you scan the barcode or when you need to list onto the products from ShopRite to Spar to Massmart to Pick and Pay to KitKat to any of the big wholesalers or even Take-A-Lot, you've got to share content. So one of the other standards beyond the barcodes that we are known for is when you need to talk about your products, you need to tell the story about your products in the same way to all the retailers. So what Unilever does well is they have published the most amount of products on our national product catalog, which really Stats A should really look at getting that API connected for scannable data. And not only have they shared products, they can now share their images with retailers through the platform and the portal that we have. And a big shout out to the Unilever team. I do believe we have somebody here to take the award. We really appreciate all the work you've done together with Ndile and Tracy, who was on part of our council before. And Shade, I hope that you're going to be joining us in the council too. So well done to Unilever. And last but not least, I'm not sure if Johnson and Johnson is in the room, but they have been in the healthcare space, and I'm sure you've used their products for your babies or some of the health products that we use in our home for cleaning. But Johnson and Johnson in the healthcare space and also just over the counter has really been a good user, not just locally, but they're an international company. So we're just encouraging all the multinationals that work with GS1, whether that's in Australia, Brazil, you've heard the stories from Holker from Brazil, or Namibia for that matter, the portal and the data sharing portal that I know Zincle has now given us a KPI to increase by 65% coverage. So I need help there, ShopRite and Pick and Pay and Spar to increase those numbers. But just well done to Johnson and Johnson for having the highest number of our healthcare products on the platform from across the world in one portal that can be shared with the retailers, with the Discoms of the world, and all of the pharmacies of in the country. In one single click, they share their 20,000 catalog of GTINs with the retailers and the relevant providers and even the regulator. So we really appreciate them and the support they've given us. I don't think we have Johnson and Johnson, so we will make sure that we visit them, Tendo and Terran, and give them the award. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michelle. We have had an exciting day. Firstly, I want to apologize, Musibut, for your experience. I just wanted to have the big hole open and swallow me. So we are really improving our offering and our services. And I was sitting next to our CEO. I said, it's your department. You need to go back and fix it. So we're really working hard on improving our efficiencies. You know, for an organization that is 40 years old, sometimes it becomes complacent. We just think people are just going to come to us. So we're really changing that. As you heard, we have really some top KPIs that we have to achieve as an organization to improve service, to improve delivery, and be as efficient as possible. We have lots of work to do from our digital transformation, our own, so that your own experience when you're interfacing with us is easy and fast. And I just like NetBank years ago, and I say to the team, NetBank is years ago used to have a slogan or say, ask once. I'm like, why is it so difficult? We want our consumers, our members to ask once, and we should be able to respond to that. So it is our big aspiration. We're working towards that. We are really focused on achieving these as these key milestones and surprise our council members about the experience that they're going to be seeing and the impact and the growth and efficiencies that we're going to be seeing. But now, I think it's what is going to be a key. We have been thinking if you go to buy our barcode online, it takes you 5 to 10 minutes. If it takes you longer than that, please give us that feedback so that we can improve it, because in like your experience, you already have talked to it. With the resellers, it's easy because there's not regulation standards and work that we have done. So we're trying to streamline that and make sure that it is as fast and as efficient as possible. So with that, we really love the communications and the impact and the discussions that you have had, and some great ideas that we're going to be taking back. A good thing tomorrow, as with the team, we had our strategy approved and our objectives approved by the board. So each and every of my executives tomorrow, they're going to be saying how are they going to be achieving those objectives. So we're going to be having a meeting for the next 2 days. What we've taken out from here today is going to be really impactful today for us in the next 2 days to dismantle, to just slice and dice and see what is it that we need to do better. For a long time, we've just been focused on big business. We haven't focused there. Our core, our supply chain is our foundation. We will not exist without them, but we are really expanding and growing into the SMME sector. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming through today. As Anthea had said earlier on, we have a number of activities this year. Come and join our activities. Stay until the end. And, because we're going to be having a lot of, in the next coming events that we're going to be having, it's going to be quite an exciting journey. So don't forget us in all your interactions. Go to our website. Go to our social media. We do not have Facebook, we're on Twitter, so we're on LinkedIn. Just go there, interact with us, give us ideas, because definitely we know that we are not known out there, and it is our own doing, and we're trying to improve that. With that, thank you so much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Ik verstaan nie. O,
Nuclear abasafethu